Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day everyone, and especially to our lecturer, Sir Adi Hakim. Today, Group 5 from MAC 240 is excited to present our statistical analysis on the factors influencing bank customer
Before
choice.
we dive into this data, let me introduce myself. My name is Iman Sofia, and let me introduce my team members. The first one is Muhammad Miftahuddin, the second one is Nurul Najiha, next is Nurul Nazira, and the last one is Zeti Batusha.
We have structured our presentation into 4 main sections today. We will start with our background and objective, guide you through our methodology, discuss our core statistical findings, and finish with practical recommendations for the banking sector. Let's address the core issue. Customer retention is a major challenge in banking because keeping an existing customer is far cheaper than acquiring a new one. The problem is that many banks experience customer churn without really understand why it's happening, which drains revenue and inflates marketing costs. Our study aims to tackle this by analyzing demographic, financial, and behavioral data to find out what truly drives customers to stay or leave. There are 2 problem statements. Firstly, many banks experience customer irritation without fully understand the reason behind it. Next, customer churn can reduce a bank's revenue and increase marketing costs to acquire new customers. Other than that, there are 3 objectives. First, to describe the demographic and banking characteristics of bank customers. Second, to determine whether there is significant association between customer demographic characteristics and customer churn. Lastly, to identify the factors influencing customers' account balance. For significance of the study, banks can improving customer retention strategy. Second, marketing departments in designing targeted promotion. Next, manager in making evidence-based decision. And lastly, researcher as reference for future studies on customers' behavior. For our methodology, we use a secondary data set sourced from Google. We analyze a sample size of 350 customers looking at real US banking records, including credit scores, customer activity, and whether they ultimately exited the bank. We classify our data into 2 main types of variables. For qualitative variables, we look at nominal traits like geography, gender, and active membership. For quantitative variables, we track continuous and discrete matters like age, tenure, accounting balance, credit scores, and the products a customer uses. This is table for qualitative categorical. This is table for quantitative. To meet our 3 objectives, we apply 3 distinct statistical tests. For our descriptive profile, we use frequency and percentage for categorical data and mean and standard deviation for numeric data. Second, to check the association between gender and churn, we ran a chi-square test of independence and to find out what influenced account balance, we utilize a multiple linear regression.
Now, I will present about result and discussion for Objective 1, which is to describe the demographic and banking characteristics of bank customers. For this objective, we use descriptive statistics. Specifically, we apply frequency and percentage for categorical variables such as gender and geography, and mean and standard deviation for continuous variables including age, account balance, and estimated salary. First, let's look at demographic characteristics of the customers. Based on the data collected from 350 customers, we found that 44.3% are male, while 45.7% are female. This indicates that the sample is fairly balanced between male and female customers, although male slightly outnumbers females. Next, in terms of geography, the majority of customers are from France, representing 46.9% of the sample. This is followed by Germany with 27.7% and Spain with 25.4%. Therefore, France contributes the largest proportion of customers in our dataset. Looking at age, the customer range from 19 to 80 years old with a mean age of 37.99 years and a standard deviation of 10.03. This suggests that most customers are working age adult, although the dataset includes customers from a wide range of age groups. Next, let's discuss the banking characteristics. The average account balance is 73,129 ringgit and 70 cents. However, the standard deviation is 62,687 ringgit and 61 cents, which is relatively high. This indicates that there is considerable variation in customers' account balance. In other words, while some customers have relatively low balance, others maintain significantly higher balance. For estimated salary, the average is 101,337 ringgit and 82 cents, with a standard deviation of 57,476 ringgit and 20 cents. This shows that customers come from different income levels, reflecting a diverse customer base. Lastly, regarding credit card ownership, the mean value is 0.70. Since this variable is coded as 1 for customers who have a credit card and 0 for those who do not, this means that approximately 70% of customers own a credit card, while the remaining 30% do not. In conclusion, the descriptive analysis shows that our sample consists mainly of working age customers with a fairly balanced gender distribution, and France contributing the highest numbers of customers. In addition, customers shows wide differences in both account balances and estimated salaries, indicating that the bank serves customers from various financial backgrounds.
Next, we are going to the result and discussion for Objective 2. As for Objective 2, we are going to determine whether there is a significant association between the customer gender and customer chain. As for this objective, we are going to use the method of chi-test square independence, where there is statistical test is appropriate because both variable are categorical variable. Like for the gender, they are going to consist of the female and male category, and for the customer chain, they are consist of the customer who exit and did not exit the bank. Okay, let's see that the null hypothesis stated that there is no significant association between the gender and customer chain, while the alternative hypothesis stated that there is significant associations. So from the chorus tabulations, we observed that 25.6% of female customers exit the bank compared to the 17.9% of male customers. Although the female customer appear to have slightly higher churn rate, the difference alone is not the reason that this indicate as statistical significance. As for the chi-square test, the test produced that the level of 3.083 with the p-value of the 0.079. Since the p-value is greater than the significance level of 0.05 or the default amount, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, there is no statistical significance between the gender and customer chains. This finding that suggests that the gender alone is not the significance factor influence that whether the customer leave the bank. Instead, the customer chain is likely to influence by the other factors such as the customer satisfaction, the service quality, the digital banking experience or interest rate, and even the financial product offered by the bank. In conclusions, we are going to say that the objective 2 has been successfully achieved, and we conclude that the gender is not the significantly associated with the customer churn.
So our third research objective is to identify the factors influencing customers' account balance. To achieve this objective, we applied multiple linear regression because the dependent variable, which is account balance, is continuous, while several independent variables were analyzed simultaneously. The independent variables include credit score, age, tenure, number of products, estimated salary, has credit card, and is active member. So first, let's look at the model summary. The regression model produced an R-square value of 0.112, which means that 11.2% of the variation in customers' account balance can be explained by the independent variables included in this model. The remaining 88.8% is influenced by other factors that were not included in this study. So next, the ANOVA table shows an F value of 6.146 with a p-value less than 0.001. Since the p-value is less than 0.05, the regression model is statistically significant. This indicates that the independent variables, when considered together, significantly explain customers' account balance. Finally, let's examine the coefficients table. Among all 7 independent variables, only number of products is statistically significant, with a regression coefficient of negative 33951.763 and a p-value less than 0.001. The negative coefficient indicates that customers with a greater number of banking products tend to have lower account balances after controlling for the other variables. The remaining variables, namely the credit score, age, tenure, estimated salary, has credit card, and is active member, all have p-values greater than 0.05, indicating that they do not significantly influence customers' account balance in this study. One possible explanation is that customers who own multiple banking products may distribute their money across different accounts or investment products, rather than maintaining a high balance in a single account. In conclusion, the multiple linear regression model is statistically significant, and number of products is identified as the only significant predictor of customers' account balance. However, because the model explains only 11.2% of the variation, future studies should include additional variables to improve the predictive power of the model. Therefore, Objective 3 has been successfully achieved.
Now, we're moving into our conclusion. We have mapped our statistical directly back to our 3 core objectives. So the first objective, our descriptive analysis of 350 bank customers show a balanced demographic distribution across gender and geographic location that give us very reliable sample. Next, for the second objective, we have already run the chi-square to test the independence to see who leave the banks. We discovered that gender does not affect the customer churn, with a p-value that reached well above than 0.05. The data proved that males and females customers leave at identical rates. For the third objective, we have used multiple linear regression to analyze account balance. The results show that the number of bank products a customer has significantly impacted their balance with the negative beta. So this negative coefficient proves that as a customer sign up for more separate bank service, their primary account balance decreases because their funds are spread too thin. Next, we move on into the recommendation part. So based on this finding, we have 2 main recommendations. So the first one, for the bank improvement, bundle bank service. Instead of aggressively pushing individual minor products that dilute main account size, the bank should create high yield bundle package. For example, offering zero-fee credit card only if the customer maintains a high minimum balance in a linked savings account. So this incentive keeping the money consolidated. Next, track behavior. Since gender has no statistical relationship with the churn, the bank should shift marketing budget away from the gender segmentation. Instead, they should invest in tracking behavioral triggers, like setting up the automated system alert when the user's transaction volume suddenly drops. Second, for the future research, expand data and variable. To improve future studies, researchers should expand the sample size past 350 respondents and gather data from multiple banking institutions to make the result fully generalizable across the Malaysian banking industry. They should also test the qualitative variable like customer satisfaction score, apps usage frequency, and also service wait time. So that's all conclude our presentation. Thank you.